Okay, everyone, this is the test one review. This is everything that is going to be covered on test one. If you know everything in this video, you will do just fine on the test. So starting off, we're just talking about operations and what each of these words is associated with. So my first word here is quotient. So I want to identify which operation quotient is. Quotient is division. So if I had the quotient of x and 4, that would be x divided by 4. Or the quotient of 4 and 2, 4 divided by 2. Also could be written this way. All right, sum. Sum tells me to add. Sum is addition. So the sum of two numbers means one number plus a number. The sum of x and 4 is x plus 4. The sum of 4 and 2 is 4 plus 2. Product. Product tells me to multiply. So the product of two numbers is going to be one number multiplied by the other one. So the product of x and 4 is x times 4. And we denote that with a dot now because we use x as a variable. So you could write it x times 4 like that, or we know that we can write that like this. X 4 times means 4 x's, 4x. Or the product of 4 and 2, 4 times 2, can write that as 8. Difference. Difference means subtract. So the difference of x and 4, that's going to mean x minus 4. The difference of 4 and 2, 4 minus 2, that's going to be 2. And you'll notice like terms apply when we have addition and subtraction. Notice how I didn't combine these two, but I could combine these. So when we have addition and subtraction, it's necessary to have like terms to combine. Okay, two. Two says write an equation for the sentence. So an equation means I only want numbers and symbols. So I'm taking these words and I'm going to transform them into a group of numbers and symbols. So 10 less than. So 10 less than, that tells me I'm taking 10 away. That less than tells me to subtract whatever this is. So I'm subtracting 10 from something. 10 less than the quotient. Quotient tells me to divide, of x and 4. The quotient of x and 4, I want to go in order. X divided by 4. So the quotient of x over 4. So 10 less than the quotient of x and 4 means I'm subtracting 10 from x over 4. Is equivalent to tells me to put an equal sign. 4 times the difference of x and 3. So I'm multiplying 4 by a quantity. That difference word tells me to group. It tells me to put parentheses and put x minus 3 in parentheses because 4 is being multiplied by the difference, not just x and not just 3. So this would not be correct because we're multiplying by the difference. So x over 4 minus 10 equals 4 times the quantity x minus 3. So now for 3, we want to translate the equation into words, so the opposite of what we just did. So I've got 6 and then a subtraction sign, so 6 minus x, or I could put the difference of 6 and x. So I've covered my left side of my equal sign. So I've got to get my equal sign. So I could say is equal to equals is equivalent to. I'll just put is equal to. And now for my right side, I've got 5 being multiplied because we've got distributive property here, right? It's being multiplied by a quantity. So I can go ahead and put 5 times or 5 multiplied by all kinds of things. And then I've got 7 plus y. So just say 5 times the sum of y and 7. or sorry, of 7 and y. So that order is important here. So we've got the difference of 6 and x is equal to 5 times the sum of 7 and y. Now we want to solve for x, and we're given 6 times the sum of x and 2 is equal to 4 times x plus 10. So the first thing I want to do is distribute. When you see grouping symbols, you want to get rid of those first as best you can. So I'm going to multiply 6 by x and 6 by 2. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 2 is 12. And I'm just going to leave my left side alone. So now I want to end up with x on one side and numbers on the other side until I have a two-step equation. So I'm going to start by just subtracting 12 from both sides. So I just have 6x left on one side. I'll bring my 4x down because it's not compatible with a negative 12. And 10 minus 12 equals negative 2. So now I want to get this 4x to the other side and group it with that 6x. So this is a positive 4x. Don't be fooled because there's a negative sign here. That 4x is positive, so the opposite of adding 4x, I want to subtract 4x. So those are going to cancel. I'm going to bring my negative 2 down. And 6x minus 4x is 2x. So now I have 2 times x equals negative 2. The only operation I have left is multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. Those 2's canceled. X is equal to negative 2 divided by 2, which is negative 1. So to summarize, we want to first distribute, and then we want to put numbers on one side, variable on the other side. And from there, you just need to look at what you have going on. So I've got this 4x here. I know I could subtract it over here so that I just have numbers on one side, variable on the other. So for number 5, I want to solve for y. So let's look at what's going on around y. We've got 6 being multiplied by y, and that quantity is being decreased by 3. I don't have any distribution, I don't have a fraction bar, so I'm going to go about this normally. The first thing I want to take care of is addition and subtraction. And then I want to take care of multiplication and division. This is just a two-step problem. Oops. So, first thing I want to take care of is addition and subtraction. I have this 3 being subtracted. The opposite of subtracting 3 is going to be adding 3. So add 3 on both sides. Those are going to cancel. I just have 6y on the right. Negative 45 plus 3 is going to get me negative 42. So now I've done my addition and subtraction. I want to do multiplication and division. I have 6 times y. The opposite of multiplying by 6 is going to be dividing by 6. So that will go to 1. And I just have y. And negative 42 divided by 6 is negative 7. So y is negative 7. For number 6, we have an absolute value problem. So we want to think about what could possibly be within the absolute value bars to equal 9. So what is 9 spaces away from 0? Well, I know that if I add 9 to 0, that's 9 spaces away. And if I subtract 9 from 0, that's also 9 spaces away. So I know that positive 9 and negative 9 could be in absolute value bars to produce a distance of 9 from 0. So I need to solve for when what is in absolute value bars is equal to both of those values. So I want to know when 2x minus 3 equals positive 9 and when it equals negative 9. So I will have 2 solutions here. So I just have a two-step equation. I've got multiplication and I have subtraction. Just like the last one, I want to take care of subtraction first. The opposite of subtracting 3 is adding 3. Those go away, and I'll bring down my 2x. 9 plus 3 is 12. Now I just have multiplication, 2 times x. The opposite of multiplying by 2 is going to be dividing by 2. So now x is equal to 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So this is one of my solutions. Now I'm going to solve this one the same way. I'm going to start with the subtraction and add 3 to do the opposite. Those 3's will cancel, and I'll bring down my 2x. Negative 9 minus 3, plus 3 is negative 6. So now I'm going to divide out my 2 to get x alone. Those will cancel. X is equal to negative 6 divided by 2, which is negative 3. So these are my two solutions. And it also wants me to graph the solution set. And when I graph a solution set for absolute value, I just have two values, x equal to 6 and x equal to negative 3. So I'll put 1 at negative 6, and I'll put 1 at negative 3. Or sorry, it was positive 6. So I will put 1 at negative 3 and 1 at positive 6 and put a dot on both of those. And that is the graph for my solution set here. So now here I have a proportion. I've got the quantity of x minus 5 over 15 is equal to 2/3. So there's a couple ways I can do this. One way that always is going to work is going to be butterfly. So let's do butterfly first. That means I'm just going to multiply the opposites by each other and set them equal to each other. So I'm going to multiply x minus 5 times 3. And I'm going to set it equal to 2 times 15. So now I have some simplification I can do on both sides. Here I can distribute this 3. So 3 times x is going to be 3x. 3 times negative 5 is going to be negative 15. And over here, 2 times 15 is going to get me 30. So now I've still got just a two-step equation to solve here. So I've got 3 times x, and that's being decreased by 15. The first thing I want to take care of is addition and subtraction. So the opposite of subtracting 15 is adding 15. Those are going to cancel, and I just bring down my 3x. 30 plus 15 is 45. And now I want to divide by 3. Divide by 3. So I get x is equal to 45 divided by 3, which is 15. And there's another way I could solve this as well. If I think about fractions, if these are set equivalent to each other, I know that there's going to be an equivalent fraction with 15 in the denominator that is equal to this. So to go from 3 to 15, I want to multiply by 5. So 3 times 5 gets me 15. So I would have to do the same to the top to get an equivalent fraction. So 2 times 5 is 10. So I know that for this fraction to have 15 in the denominator, it needs to have 10 in the numerator for it to be equivalent to this fraction 2/3. So I know that this has to be equal to 10. So I can set x minus 5 equal to 10. And then I'll add 5, bring down my x, and x is equal to 15. And you don't have to solve it this way, but if that's something that's easy for you to think about and figure out, then that's a good way to approach it as well. Okay, last one, we want to isolate x. So this one says 6y minus 4x equals 2 times the sum of 3x and 4y. So the first thing I want to do here is distribute and combine like terms. So I have distribution here because 2 is being multiplied by a sum. So I know that if I multiply by each term and add them, it'll be the same as if I multiplied by the actual sum. So 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times 4y is 8y. And I'll bring this down. And now I want to combine like terms. So I want to put the x's together and I want to put the y's together. So I'm going to add 4x to both sides to move this 4x over, this negative 4x. Those will cancel and I'll bring down my 6y. So 6y is equal to 6x plus 4x. And these two are like terms because they both have an x. So 6x plus 4x, I just add the numbers and keep the x. So it's going to be 10x. And I'll bring down my 8y. So now I want to get x alone. So this is just like our two-step equations. We just have another variable, but we treat it like it's anything else. So I want to first take care of this addition and subtract to do the opposite. So if those go away, I bring down my 10x. And 6y minus 8y is negative 2y. So now to get x alone, it's just being multiplied by 10. So the opposite of multiplying by 10 is dividing by 10. So those will go away, and I get that x is equal to negative 2 over 10 times y. And I could simplify this further and make it negative 1/5 y if I wanted. But this is the exact same concept as what we were doing up here. It's just a two-step equation, but instead of this being a plain 3 here, it had a y next to it. And that 45 had a y next to it. So the entire process is the same as a two-step equation with numbers in one variable. We just want to treat that other number or that other variable like it's a normal number.